Welcome to Inspired Living with Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector. Every Wednesday, Marc, along with his special guests, will explore thought-provoking topics and ideas that promote creativity, self-help, healing, happiness, and well-being to inspire you on your spiritual journey. Each week, Marc will discuss different paths to achieving a more spiritual, balanced, happy, and healthy lifestyle. Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual. Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. Marc is a tested, certified, and professional spiritual medium, metaphysical teacher, healer, and spiritual advisor with a spiritual practice based in Seattle, Washington. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even heard, but must be felt with the heart. Helen Keller reminds us of that, and today we're going to be talking all about the heart. We're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about dating in the quarantine and the new normal. So good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you may be in this beautiful, resting, transforming planet of ours. This is Inspired Living Radio. I am your host, Marc Lainhart, coming to you live here in my studio in Seattle, Washington, the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And I just want to say thank you for hanging out with this afternoon. If you catch the live broadcast, we love our inspired listeners. We always like to say you are the inspired and the inspiration. And if you catch the podcast that streams through iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podbean, OMTimes Radio Archives, or marclainhart.com, thank you for catching this replay or podcast. So I hope that you're staying safe. I hope that you are staying healthy during these unprecedented times in our history. There is a lot going on, but we can take the next hour to really just set an intention to bring some inspiration, positivity, encouragement, motivation, healing, and of course love into our reality. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing here in Seattle, you can visit me at marclainhart.com or just internet search The Intuitive Prospector. You can also find me every Monday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for my Facebook Live and YouTube show, Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, followed by the Healing Cafe at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is where I have conversations, direct chats, Q&A, live readings. It's a lot of fun over on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to follow the show, you can go to Facebook right now, look for Inspired Living Radio, and join the 1,600 plus inspired listeners all around the globe. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram under the handle Inspired For Us. That is the number 4, Inspired For Us. So make sure to get on our social media blast so you can catch up with all the amazing guests that we have coming up. And we have some amazing guests, not just today, but we're moving into September and October. We have some fun, inspiring, and shows that will be very educational for you. So, again, if you missed the live show, you can catch the encores at OMTimes Radio Archives, iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podbean, and, of course, we're here every Wisdom Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, every second and fourth Wednesday of the month for Inspired Living. And I just want to say thank you for just following us, listening to the live internet radio show. What I love about internet radio is you can listen to us from anywhere in the globe. No password needed, no username needed, no membership. It's free, and we've been doing this for 5 seasons, and I love doing the work that we do on the radio and bringing that inspiration in. And we like to say, you are the inspired and the inspiration, and be inspired, inspire others, inspire before we expire. And today is no different with our guest today. She's coming in live from New York City. She is New York City's #1 relationship coach, Laurie Gerber, and we're going to be discussing for the next 45, 50 minutes about dating in the quarantine, the new norm, how relationships are being impacted by this global pandemic, especially here in the United States. Maybe relationships coming together, maybe relationships growing apart, and we're going to be taking the next hour to look at some things, to talk about her experiences and what she does as a relationship coach. Laurie has a full arsenal of speaking topics about finding love and improving your relationships. Laurie's passionate about personal development. She's been coaching individuals and groups for over 15 years now. She specializes in relationship and marriage coaching and is the #1 marriage and relationship coach based in New York City. So congratulations. congratulations to her for that. She spreads her messages of empowerment through public speaking events such as the 2019 TedX Brooklyn. If you've ever seen TED Talks, they're a lot of fun. Live international events, one-on-one coaching. She does virtual coaching courses and on radio and on TV appearances such as MTV's True Life Special, I'm Getting a Second Chance, A&E's The Marriage Test, The Dr. Phil Show, and The Today Show. Laurie also hosts monthly dating and relationship webinars on Match and JDate, providing dating, sex, and relationship advice to an average of 350 listeners per month. Laurie considers herself an angel recruiter because she is busy looking for other people who share her mission to instill more joy and peace in the world. She feels blessed to spend her days doing work that makes her proud, and she's inspired by Handle clients for having the gumption and guts to look at themselves honestly. She lives in Manhattan with her husband and 3 kids, and if you go to our Facebook page of Inspired Living Radio right now, you can actually click on the link to get a coaching option or coaching session through our special Inspired Living Radio consult link. And Laurie, welcome to Inspired Living Radio. We're very honored and humbled to have you on today's show.
Hi, thank you, Mark. Just want to clarify one thing. My last name is Gerber, like the baby food. Lauren Zander, you've also met and talked to. She is also a person, but she is not me.
Oh, interesting. Okay, we'll have to talk to your PR firm. I apologize for that.
Out. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I don't want to meet anyone, but our names have a lot in common. But I just want to clear. I do want to clear that up. She is my coach. I will be representing her in my speaking. Sometimes I think we're the same person, but in fact, we are 2 different people. And I'm sorry for whatever caused that confusion.
Yeah, it looks like we got the wrong PR kit. So hopefully I got the right picture of you.
You got the right picture, at least from, I believe you got the right picture, and I think that you also, I'm looking at Facebook right now, and you also, you got the right description. You described me. I recognize myself, so that's good.
Okay, sorry about that. Apologies.
No problem.
I will double check with my team. So, Laurie Gerber, welcome to Inspired Living Radio.
Welcome. Thank you. So good to be here.
I thought I recognized the name when I looked at it. I thought maybe we've talked to Laurie before, but this is your first time on Inspired Living Radio.
This is my first time with you, yes. But I had a note that you have actually interviewed Lauren before.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay. Laurie. All right. Well, hey, that's we learn by doing, right? And we just show up and we make the best of it. And welcome to the show today, the live broadcast where we are talking about dating in quarantine, the new norm. So just, outside the bio, what I was just reading about you, anything else that you want to share with our inspired listening audience all around the globe?
Yeah, I've been loving quarantine for the purposes of working on love, sex, dating, and long-term relationships. I think it provides an amazing opportunity because we're aware of our mortality in a way that we are not normally aware of. And we are aware of I know you're very aware of your mortality, but not everybody is. And aware of the importance of our relationships, both because we're either stuck with people that we normally can get away from, or because we're quite acutely aware of our loneliness. And we just have all the benefits of technology right now so that we do have something we can do about it if we feel lonely and we feel mortal and we discover or rediscover how absolutely crucial deep human connection is. We can do something about it. So I find it to be a terrific moment to shift consciousness, elevate consciousness, and invite a heck of a lot more fun, love, sex, and dating into our lives.
Yeah,
that's what I want people to know. I've been more popular than ever on the dating sites, and people are hungry to figure out how to use this to their advantage instead of to get sucked into the negativity.
Yeah, and I was just talking with a friend. It's just, if we go back 100 years when we had a pandemic, that's the last time that we had the great pandemic of the influenza flu at the turn of the century. I just can't imagine 2 years of isolation without technology that we enjoy today.
Right.
The Netflix, the internet, the Inspired Living Radio broadcast show, television, a lot of reading, I'm sure. But yeah, I was just talking to somebody about that and the great transformation that we're going to, because a lot of people keep asking me for the work I do. Mark, are we going to get back to normal? And I said, well, no, not really.
Nope.
The normal that was, before wasn't working. And so therefore we are transforming in what I've, long called the great coming together, the great year of transformation. The Roaring 2020s is what I did a podcast back in early January talking about exactly everything that has unfolded before us. And that's going to impact not only relationships, but it may actually end a couple relationships with all this. Being in quarantine, with somebody can be very difficult. I didn't realize how much I loved quarantine, to be honest with you. Not much has changed for me either. So I'm very busy with the work I do. But let's talk about, let's get into some relationship speaking topics for the listening audience today. You're number one in New York City for marriage and relationship coaching. How does someone get to number one? How is that based on reviews or is that based on feedback? How do they do that?
just by thinking I'm really great, I guess, and doing lots of stuff. But it's all in the thinking, of course. I've been doing this for years and years. I've been doing it for 15 years in all different methods. I come to it honestly from my own experience. I call it my near divorce experience. That's my version of an NDE. Because I was about to tank my marriage and I didn't even know it when I came to coaching. And I wasn't even coming to work on it. In fact, when I hired my coach, I wanted to work on my business. And she, the first thing she asked me to do was articulate my dreams and what I really cared about in all areas of my life. And when I started to talk about my marriage, which at the time was, I think I was 10 years into relationship, 5 years into marriage. And, she could see very clearly I was not engaged. I was not present. My one true love was actually food, not my husband. I was burying myself in work and kids and didn't even realize, again, that I was about to throw it away until I did this exercise. And so I went through my own process of reigniting my marriage and saving my marriage and then ultimately making it amazing to the point where now I'm 27 years with this person and it gets better and better. Thank you. I feel that's a big accomplishment and it gets better and better and hotter and that's my commitment for myself and for others. And so I think I have a lot of credibility based on the fact that I have been through it and I continue to go through it publicly in front of people, talking about it with every twist and turn of the relationship. It takes something to have a great relationship. It's not, it's not only is culture changing, so our expectations are changing and what's possible keeps changing, but we're mere mortals and we have all kinds of negative biases and negative thoughts and historical disappointments that would make it hard to really believe in love and believe in finding your soulmate and believe in sustaining that. But I am the rally cry for that. That's my answer to being number one. That's why I think I'm number one.
Yeah, no, I love it. And, congratulations on 27 years. That is a rarity in today's society. I, too, have been married for 25 years, been with my wife for 27. And, it does take work. It does take, you have your good years, you have your not so good years, you have your ups and your downs, but you stay the course. In fact, her grandparents just celebrated 70 years together. And both are still living, which is just,
how about that?
Wow. Her grandma was 15 when she got married, and he was 17. Yeah, and I'm like 70 years. But congratulations to them because it's just,
awesome.
It's such a rarity these days to have long-standing relationships for that many years. And it kind of reminds me of the comment that Lao Tzu talked about back in back when he was alive. He talked about being deeply loved by someone gives you the strength, while loving someone deeply gives you that courage. And that does. I think it takes strength and courage to love another and to have someone love you with all of our quirks and our habits and our difference of opinions. But at the same time, I know that you talk about the 3 H's, about the head, the heart, and the hoo-ha that guides us. And when we're going to get into our first break here in just a few minutes, but let's kind of just talk about the three H's and guide to finding that one, because for you and I, we are with in a relationship, we're with our one. But for the listeners out there, they may just be looking for that one, right, and trying to find that soulmate or that person that really, that sense of loneliness too. I can only imagine with this pandemic how many people are lonely. I know I've done a lot of readings over the last 2 months, and there is a lot of lonely people out there. That I do know.
Yeah, very true. So the three H's refers to the three critical voters inside of each of us that have something to say about whom we're dating, or even whom we've chosen, right, and are with. And the head so it's the head, the heart, and the hoo-ha, or the heat, however you want to name that H. But it refers to the head being the practical. Does this person work for my life? Do we want to live in the same place? Do we each want to feel could be sense of humor. It could be communication style. It could be admiration, the intersection of your dreams. And the hoo-ha is the chemistry or the attraction, which many people think they have lots of criteria for, but ultimately boils down to something that we can't quite explain or describe, that we just know it when we feel it.
That intuition, that sense of just knowing it, or what we in the spiritual pathways we call claircognizance, which is a sense of knowing something, but the mind can't rationalize it, the mind can't logically try to put the finger on it. And mothers have this same intuition when when they know that their children are in trouble or their children are in danger. And so I think that love, that sense of that, whether it's DNA, whether it's pheromones, whether it's chemistry, whether that's intuition, sometimes you recognize another soul through another person's eyes. They say that the eyes are the gateway to the soul, and sometimes there's just that recognition and that connection that takes place. It can be very overpowering, right? It can be very intense. It can be very passionate. But I also think about, psychology, where they talk about the brain waves of love being on the same brain waves as someone is crazy. So, it can take you in a couple different ways of, being passionately in love or being just absolutely crazy about this person. So we're going to go to our first commercial break here, and then we'll be back here in 2 minutes. But I want to say thank you for listening today. We have our special guest, Laurie Gerber, calling in from New York, talking about dating in the quarantine, the new norm. This is Inspired Living Radio. We'll be back here in 2 minutes.
The future of internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
One planet, 7.3 billion people. Only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
And welcome back to Inspired Living Radio. Quick quote from Bo Taplin that says, "Whoever said that small things don't matter has never seen a match start a wildfire." I can definitely agree. And we're talking about wildfires of love, wildfires of relationships with our very special guest today, New York City's #1 relationship coach, Laurie Gerber, to discuss dating in the quarantine, the new norm. Laurie, welcome back, and let's pick up right where we left off, talking about the 3 H's of head, heart, and the hoo-ha that guides us to finding the one.
Woohoo! Hoo-ha! Right.
Hoo-ha.
So, the main problem, as you can imagine, is that people sell out on one or more of those voices. So it's as if you're splitting the pie between all three. So, if you get someone who's really practical, you can't also have real hot attraction. Or if you get someone real hot attractive, you're not necessarily going to have enough trust. And what we are encouraging you to do is think about each H as having its whole own 100% pie, its whole own vote. And we get our clients to date according to their criteria in all three. And we give our clients 3 dates to determine where people fall in terms of their criteria. And we advise that if you are not at an 8 or above on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of those three, for each of those 3 voices, you abort the mission and you do not proceed with dating that person. So it's our version of the rules. And the rules are, you seek what you actually want and you intend to actually find it. And you do it on purpose with honesty and grace. And it makes it a lot more fun and a lot more efficient and avoids a lot of heartbreak. That's the theory.
That is the theory. Now all we can do is apply our theories and see how they unfold and see how they work.
Yeah.
You talk about this as also just, getting deeply honest about what that person really wants. Mm-hmm. And for our listeners out there, could you just go into a little bit more detail about that, about, getting deeply honest and what that maybe looks like, what that feels like? Because that can be maybe an uncomfortable position for somebody out there to get deeply honest with themselves about what they really want, right?
We have no practice at that, Mark, pretty much in modern society. We have we have a lot of practice of lying, faking, pretending. That's what my TEDx talk is about. It's called the Secret-Free Diet. It's all about being honest. But what I find interesting is obviously people are dishonest in terms of they present themselves as better than they are to try to, manipulate people into liking them. That's one obvious way that people are dishonest that obviously backfires. But the other way I think people are dishonest is they don't actually ask themselves what they really want. It's remarkable. Like, you think you have this whole long, usually very picayune list of, well, they got to be this way and this way and this way and this way and this way. But if you actually dug underneath it, there's only a few core things you really do care about in head, heart, and hoo-ha. And people don't take the time to explore that. We have a whole process we take people through to get to the nub of what it really is. I give you a...
Go ahead.
Just to give you the most mundane example, I was raised Jewish, and I thought, I need to marry someone who's Jewish, right? But that's just, and I recently found out that my father had the same criteria. My father's criteria was Jewish, smart, and pretty, and my criteria was Jewish, smart, and nice. It was just like I was regurgitating my lineage. But when I actually went back to look, what do I really care about? There were certain values and traditions I wanted to pass on to my children, and so the real truth was I wanted to be able to pass these things on to my children. It wasn't that I needed to marry a Jew. I didn't really care about marrying a Jew, actually. And I ended up marrying the son of a Presbyterian minister. And we raise our children Jewish. And I've passed on the values and traditions that I wanted to pass on. Many people wouldn't call it Jewish because I'm not, highly observant. But I had to dig underneath the thing I thought I wanted. The same thing was true with attractiveness. I thought I had a type, like a physical look that I needed. But when I dug underneath it, it was not true. What I was attracted to was a particular feeling that I wanted to have. And there was a kind of like a body experience that I wanted. But it turned out it could be with any height person, not the height I thought, not the hair color I thought, not the eye color I thought, not even the body type I thought. But the experience of attraction was something that was actually quite hard to explain. And I'm glad I didn't try, because it would have eliminated so many people that would have been potentials for me.
Yeah, and I always remind people, when I'm doing my consulting, that some of the best relationships usually begin unexpectedly. And if we have a lot of expectations for this relationship, I've just found in life to be true, the more expectations we have, the greater disappointments that we fall into. And, I've learned firsthand that the cover is not the book. And, for our listeners out there, if you can just look, at that person, not just the image of who they are on the outside, but, the things that they may bring to you, once you get into that relationship with them. I always like to say to my wife, you're the avocado to my toast, right? And, just having, those compliments and, 27 years together, you got to find, different ways and, just find new ways of keeping the relationship inspiring and hot, or as you say, hoo-ha. So
the hoo-ha
as far
high.
as
You got to keep the hoo-ha high.
Exactly. So let's continue talking about for our listeners out there, because again, we've got people that have been in relationships for a long time, like you and I, or people that are just starting to look for their first relationship. You talked about mastering the first 3 dates. So this would be more for the people that are looking for a new relationship, a new love, and how, when you talk about the first 3 dates. We're in quarantine now, and today's topic is all about dating in the quarantine. Welcome to the new norm. How does somebody go about, without being in a Zoom room for the first
you're in
3
a Zoom
dates?
room. Those are your first 3 dates. They're called video dates.
Okay.
And again, I think it's great that your first 3 dates have to be video dates. I really do, because it eliminates the whole factor of sex. It doesn't eliminate hoo-ha, but it eliminates all of the garbage people have around how do I look and what are they going to think and where's the right space and where are my kids going to be and how do I smell and what do I have to shave and what about my STD? Like all of the erectile dysfunction, like the list goes on and makes relationships that happen in real life very complicated, Mark. And that is all eliminated. So you can actually focus on, does this make sense in my life? Does this person make sense? What do I think of this person? What do I think of what they want in their lives? Do I feel connected? Do I trust? Do I respect? Do my dreams match their dreams? And no one's trying to get anyone in bed, because you can't. That to me, it's like such a gift of COVID that we get this opportunity. So it's 3 video dates. You come with your list of questions. You come with your curiosity. You come looking nice, it's not like you don't care about how you look, because you are measuring chemistry. You are building chemistry. And if it's hot, by the way, there are ways to have sex over video. Goodness knows, billions of dollars are spent every year engaging in sexual activity over videos. Why can't that happen in a context of love and admiration and affection? Of course it can. Of course it can. Be creative, people.
Yeah, and if you don't like the date, you can just disconnect and leave the Zoom room.
Amazing. Hello, listeners. Back to the concept of the art of the first 3 dates. So let me launch into what I would actually suggest you do in preparation for this COVID-style dating scenario we're in. I would give yourself a moment to sit down and think about the 3 H's and interview yourself about what you care about most. So in terms of head, it's things like location. It's things like how you want to deal with money, how you want to deal with your time, where you are about parenting your kids, other people's kids, no kids, really practical stuff like that. Religion or politics could fall under the context of head. So really ask yourself, what is most important to me in the area of head? And take special note of deal breakers. Remember, for me, one of the deal breakers is I wanted to give my children certain traditions. That was a head deal breaker. Are you back, Mark?
I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Amazing. I sure can.
Okay. Yeah, I could hear you guys talking, but for some reason my mic didn't want to operate. So I don't have a very good relationship with my microphone today, I guess. So speaking of relationships. So I just reconnected. So hopefully, sorry about that. But you were just talking about navigating sex for men and women. I could hear everything you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm mostly speaking about what to ask yourself in terms of the head, and then I'm going to give some heart ideas and some hoo-ha ideas so people can be equipped with the questions that they need to be asking when they're on their first video date, the questions they need to be asking themselves and the questions they need to be asking the people that they're dating. So So I just finished a nice list on head. Now, let me just be clear about the head criteria. It's not that you have to be the same as the person you're dating, right? They may have kids, you don't have kids, and that's fine. They may have more money than you, and that's fine. They may be really into health and fitness, and you're not, and that's fine. It just has to match. It has to be compatible, or else it's not going to work. Namely, for one of my deal breakers was needs to be willing to live in New York City. So,
okay. So
location. Location, yeah, that could be a deal breaker for you. It might totally not be. So please don't come up with a deal breaker if you don't actually have one. Okay, it's like you don't need more things on this list. You need less, but you need to also tell the truth. And then heart often has to do with communication style, frequency, admiration, attention. Some people love texting all day. Some people, like if my husband texts me all day, I go nuts. I love the type of attention we give each other. We're so compatible. We're like high in the morning. I sleep in my own bedroom. I have my own bed. If God forbid I had to sleep with him, it would be a disaster. But we have a date every night. We have a slumber party every night. I call it my slumber party with my best friend. And that works for us. But it would be terrible for some couples. They would hate that. Some people love to be together all the time. So that would fall under the heart consideration. To me, the most important heart consideration is whether your dreams intersect. Whether your dreams are compatible, what you want for your life is compatible. That's really important. And then hoo-ha, you have to look beyond, do I like the color of their eyes? Do I like their height? Do I like their weight? And look to, do I want to kiss them? Bottom line. The criteria is, do I want to kiss you? Do I want to be kissed by you? Would I even kiss you with morning breath? Do I want to look at this space for a long time? It really gets very simple when you boil it down. However, some people also have some special criteria. Like for me, I had there was a kind of way I wanted to be held and hugged that, required a certain body for that to work out, So everybody you might have your peculiarities, but you want to boil it down to the essentials so that you widen the pool and you're being honest. Your GPS, essentially, you're programming your GPS for its best chance of success while also giving it tons of options where it can go. So that's my little recap.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's it is. It's different strokes for different folks. My wife and I are completely different. We share a bed. Used to be a queen size bed, but we just upgraded to a king size bed, which is interesting, right? Because there's no more cuddle time in a king size bed, and it's one of those technology beds that lifts up and lifts down. So if I'm snoring or she's snoring, I can hit the button and her bed goes up. So we've just changed with
maybe
age.
I could sleep with my husband again if I had one of those.
Yeah,
Are you saying that if you move the bed, that your partner stops snoring without waking them up?
Yes, it's called the snore setting. So you could have your different favorite settings, and then you have an app on your phone. You hit the snore setting if your partner is snoring, and it slowly raises them up until they don't snore anymore. So there's technology impacting the relationship.
Mark,
once again.
Promise me that actually works, and will be a changed woman.
Well,
does that actually work? You tried it?
Well, my wife's tried it on me and it's worked, so I don't remember. So I'm too busy, in my deep sleep snoring logs.
That's all I need to know. I'll take anecdotal evidence. I've really learned something today that I'm going to take with me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a prime example of technology directly impacting the relationship.
Love it.
And we just got it about 2 weeks ago, so we've been waiting for it. Again, with COVID and the pandemic, everything was either stopped or halted. So we were supposed to get it back in February, and we finally just got it delivered. But
congratulations!
Thanks.
You never know what's going to make your life. You never know what's going to make your life better. There's infinite possibilities. I love how that. As you were saying, you always have to keep it new and fresh. And the good news is that's not hard because we are infinite. Love it.
And I kind of like what you're saying too about with your husband. When we talk about relationships, I've always long said that it's more about being friends too, and less than being an actual quote unquote couple. But the friendship and, like you said, those slumber parties, with your husband at night, and that friendship goes a long way into these relationships and building relationships, long lasting relationships is what I would say. So we're going to be getting ready for our second break here, and again, my apologies for the disconnect, and we're getting through this and having a lot of fun here on Inspired Living Radio with our special guest today, Laurie Gerber. We'll be back here in 2 minutes to get into the main section of the show, and you are listening to Inspired Living Radio. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
The cutting edge of conscious radio. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Have you wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
Opiates has taken everything and everyone I've ever loved away from me. Everything.
I blew my ankle out and I got prescribed pain pills by my doctor.
If making my detox public is gonna help somebody, I'm all for it. I just wish I would have had a warning.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth. A message from Truth, the Ad Council, and ONDCP.
Welcome back to Inspired Living Radio. Today's special guest calling in from New York City, #1 relationship coach, Laurie Gerber, discussing dating in the quarantine, the new norm. And we're having a lot of fun talking about relationships, the Matrix, microphone dropping. What else? We're going to talk about love stuck. Maybe it's you. But before we get back into the last section of the show, if you want to call in, if you have a question for Laurie, the number, we're going to open up the phone lines, OMTimes phone lines, and Chris, my producer, will put you in the waiting room. The number to call is 202-570-7057. That is the OMTimes Radio call-in line. If you have a question on relationship or everything that we've been talking about, from the 3 H's of head, heart, and hoo-ha to mastering the first 3 dates, to the 3 H's guide to navigating sex, to the right profile, give us a call and ask Laurie a question. And until then, let's get into Love Stuck. Maybe it's you. And let's talk about that, what that section means as far as just other relationship talk is. Yeah. Because we're talking different strokes for different folks. So, maybe it is me.
Maybe it is. I mean, the funny thing is, it's so funny. I actually led a webinar last night to hundreds and hundreds of people on JDate, one of the biggest dating sites, and there was such an overwhelming number of questions. And at a certain point, I started to giggle because I thought, your questions reveal your theories. Right? Every question you're asking me tells me your bias, tells me your fear, tells me what you're thinking, right? How do I date? I'm 60, right? How do I date after a divorce? How do I date in the quarantine? How do I And I'm thinking, these are not questions. These are fears. Right? And we know that the fear is a powerful manifestation, especially if we don't know that that's what it is, right? If we think it's a legitimate question that's coming through, that's like us being a genius to be afraid of these things. So that's what we mean. One of the things we mean when we say maybe it's you is you want to take a look at what are the theories that you really believe, and be willing to admit that you may not even believe in love. You really, given what you may have witnessed as a child with your parents or whoever raised you, or whatever has happened to you in your history and what your habits have been, you may not believe in love. And that's a darn shame, because it's your birthright and it's beautiful and you deserve it and it's excellent. So the first thing I want you to do is really just admit that you don't believe in it, or you have some major blockages to it, so that you can then be the one who removes those blockages and creates the pathway. And one of the best ways to start to create the pathway and believe in it is to dedicate an hour a day to being on sites and looking and flirting and hunting and seeing what you like. That's one way to indicate to the powers that be that you mean it, that you're serious, that you're really in this hunt, while at the same time you're inspecting and unpacking your thoughts and potentially debunking any theories you have that are not serving you anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And you talked about fear, and I always remind people, for me, fear is two different meanings, and it's not the fear that we think. I always say stay in love, not fear. And for me, fear is face everything and rise, or false evidence appearing real. And with those two, because we create our own fear a lot of times. And like you said, when somebody asks a question, what do you think in your experience, Laurie, what is the number one question you get asked, would you say?
It really is like, but how do I do it given this? Right, fill in the blank. Given my STD, given I don't have a job, given I live with my kids, given I'm caring for an elderly relative, given COVID, given I have these mental health concerns, given my body looks like, fill in the blank. Everybody wants to know, but how do I do it given this? And my answer is the same way everyone else does. Establish a vision for yourself. We have Inner You Love, right? It's our entire coaching program on love. The first thing we do is have you establish a vision, articulate what you want, program the GPS to where you want to go. Get yourself to start resonating with that which you desire. Then debunk all your dumb theories in your head based on your lineage, your past, what's happened to you. One by one, shoot them down. They are false evidence appearing real. So make them false. Prove they are false. And then start proving better theories true by taking new actions. That's our formula. Start proving other things true by taking new actions. Get on the site. Start flirting. Start asking your 3H questions. Go on your virtual dates. Say no if it's not the one. Say yes if it is the one. And keep proceeding and learning until you, and that's the short answer. I could talk about it for hours, but that's the short answer.
No, and I love it. And that's why we wanted to have you on the show, just to get that perspective for our listeners out there all around the globe. It could be like you said, just even admitting that you might not want to be in love, and, it could be a learned behavior, how you're raised, different culture, depending on where you live in the world, could also impact your relationship. We have friends that are actually, that are in arranged marriages, and they're actually doing okay, so.
The statistics are not bad.
Yeah,
in other words, we don't do that well for ourselves. The bottom line. None of the systems are working that great, folks, because we're not actually free, right? Even if we are free to choose whom we marry, we are not actually free from our unconscious bias, and we are not free from our negativity, not even a bit.
Yeah, it's my wife watches that show 90 Day Fiancé, or no, Married at First Sight. So you get the whole psychological, testing. And then you go to the altar and you say, I do. And then you work on the relationship after. I think it's Married at First Sight. So you get to see them, but you've done all the back work of your likes, your dislikes, your like you said, your unconscious biases. So it's interesting from a psychology standpoint about, maybe we have the right and freedom to choose, but maybe we don't choose very well based on our stuff.
Well, we're not free. We're not free from our own stuff, and we think we are, right? It's a false reality, as you said.
It is. Yeah, and I always just like to say, believe it, see it, achieve it, as far as overcoming those fears and really just kind of getting into that. And for our inspired listeners out there, if you go to our Facebook page right now, there is a link for Inspired Living Radio listeners. If you join the page, you click on that link, you get a nice discount at half off, literally. And you can sign up and you can choose life, you can choose love, you can be a student for a lifetime subscription. So make sure to take advantage of that link on our Facebook page, Inspired Living Radio, under this show heading, with the direct link that'll give you that special discount at half off, Life plus Love bundle, the Life, the Love bundle, the Student bundle. So it's a great deal and a great opportunity. We wanted to share that with our inspired listeners. So Laurie, for the time that we have left, if people wanted to work directly with you and to get your guidance and mentorship, how do they go about doing that?
best way to keep in touch with me is Instagram, Laurie Gerber _coach. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll not only see me chatting every day and, posting things about my personal life as well as my professional life, but you will also see the link in my bio, which has, the TEDx talk, an opportunity to schedule a consultation if you're interested in private coaching, all of my free events. There's loads of stuff going on always. So Laurie Gerber _coach. But I really recommend that everyone check out these Inner You Life and Inner You Love. It's what I'm going to pitch you anyway. It's what I'm always pitching because it's our answer. There's only 20 of us coaches, and private coaching is awesome, but not everybody can afford that. Not everybody can access that. But now we have everything online, the entire program in digital format that you can do at your own pace. And we give you private coaching with it and group coaching with it for life. So it's a miracle actually right now that we can help people access it. And we put it on half price sale for our special partners because, we want to make it easy for people in pandemic times to pursue the kind of learning you need to have the most important thing, love, the most important thing. So I'm excited to offer that. That really is my, if there was one call to action, it would be go click through and see if you're ready to start doing the actual work there. Because I can only take so many people. I have like one free slot, but that program is infinite. So
keep you busy.
That's my recommendation.
We're the special people today. So for all of our inspired listeners out there all around the globe, you are special people to us, to Laurie, to Inner You. So make sure to go to our Facebook page, Inspired Living Radio, join the community, and then click on that link so you can take advantage of the different packages that Inner You is offering, literally half the price. So I would take advantage of this deal. And again, this is why we do what we do for Inspired Living Radio, bring in inspiration and encouragement and positivity, love. Now, I know you talk about a few other things, about designing your life and the art of honesty and managing your mind and mastering your money because those all play a big part, right?
You're giving everything I've ever done in my whole life.
Well, I think it's because those are big aspects of the relationship, right? Money specifically, as far as your mindset and the things that you bring. I found over the years just traveling, there's a quote from Rumi that, kind of always has stayed with me, that traveling brings power and love back into your life. And especially if you find somebody that you can travel with. And my wife and I love to travel. And it's really brought a lot of things into a lot of depth and understanding and growth and transformations when you step outside of America and you go to a different place in the world and culturally learn. But, these are all things that play a part of a relationship, managing your mindset, the money, master your money. So about that in relationships, what would you say to the mindset or mastering the money? Because money is probably the biggest thing people fight over in a relationship.
Yeah. Well, I'll take those one by one. So in terms of mindset, that speaks to the great unseen. How you said that unseen is the most important, the most decisive or influential. There's so much we can't see that's influencing everything. And again, the TEDx talk really speaks to this well too, is if you keep repeating a thought to yourself, it becomes true. So if you think, sex gets worse over time or disappears when you have kids, or if you think your partner doesn't care about you, or if you think your partner's not that bright or not that great or can't resolve their addiction or whatever it is, this is scientifically proven, you will collect evidence for that theory and prove it true. And it will become true. It will harden into fact. So mindset is hugely important, and that's why the first thing we do is have you articulate what you want, but the second thing we have you do is pour out all your thoughts and analyze them once and for all in those important areas and decide which ones you're going to listen to and which ones you're going to toss, and get really smart about that. So that's the mindset piece. Money, among the top 3 leading causes of divorce, I believe. Mostly because none of us want to deal with it. It's still a taboo topic on planet Earth. Money, sex, sexuality, gender. I don't know why we have these mental health. Like there's a few things that everyone deals with, but nobody thinks we should be talking about. So the first piece of advice I would just give you is to, again, know your own truth. So know your own dream, your own vision for that area of your life, and then be able to tell the truth about where you currently are in regards to that. If you are someone who dreams in that area and you are somebody who can tell the truth in that area, you're much more likely to find that to be true of your partner or your prospective partner if you're dating. But if you don't do the work, nobody's going to compensate for you, nor should they. So do that work so that you go into a relationship or you come back into your relationship eyes wide open, mouth wide open, telling the truth, looking for solutions in the face of a dream and in the face of an actual truthful reality. Does that answer your question, Mark? Did I speak to the points that you wanted me to make?
It does, just for the fact that I know that money, is a big problem for people. I always say we're the only species on planet Earth that pays to live here. Literally, we chop down trees, turn it into paper, use that paper to buy stuff we can't take with us. So it's always kind of been backwards concept to me anyway. But we have to have money to survive, right? To have the things we want in life. But, we're the only species that pays to live here. And then we argue over that money, paying for the debt or paying for the bills. And that I've seen a lot of relationships end because of the money strain or the difference of how they were raised, being very frugal or, just spending their money. And I see a lot of that with my own consulting and my readings as well, that money, they always say money is the root of all evil. So, and I see that where that can even impact relationships. So, I guess people are saving money in quarantine. I guess you could look at it that way. People aren't out and about doing what they do.
I hope so. I don't think it's necessarily that way, but
or you're just going online and buying more stuff.
Trust me, we're creative. We will. If we have a bad habit, no quarantine will stop us. But I like that bright side. You certainly could save money on quarantine if you design that. You could. Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is truth telling. That really is.
Yeah.
Truth telling to yourself and to those you love.
Yeah, I agree. So we just have a few minutes left.
And to those you date. Yeah. Sorry.
And to those you love, those you marry, those you date, for sure.
Exactly. You got it.
Just with the few minutes that we have left, we've covered a lot of different topics today, and I want to just thank you for coming in and sharing your expertise and your knowledge and, just talking about dating in the quarantine and what the new normal is and how this is a paradigm shift. This is going to stay with us for a very long time, and how we date and how we look at, relationships. Anything else that you'd like to say to the inspired listeners that are listening in right now or catch the podcast later when it comes to relationships?
Yeah, I just want to give everyone a permission slip to dream. Some people think because times are hard and stressful, it's actually the time to tighten up on dreaming and, think harder, work harder. It's not. It's a time to dream bigger, deeper, juicier, and turn that faucet on. And then I'll just reemphasize the other two steps as well. Debunk your dumb theories about why you can't have what you want. Use your friends, your family, your buddies, your coaches, your guides, inner you, if appropriate, to help you debunk the theories that get in your way. And then lastly, start taking action. Do that action, whether it's just a bedtime, whether it's turning off the news, whether it's exercise, whether it's doing a dating, getting on a dating site or doing the work to resolve your history in love so that you can date more freely and happily. That's what we offer, right? Whatever it is, make yourself an action promise that gets you to start thinking differently about who you are because you're taking that action. So those are the 3 steps I always emphasize. They work every time. And that is my final offering to you.
Awesome. Brilliant, Laurie Gerber. Thanks so much for being on Inspired Living Radio. And it's right. Going to tie into the end of the show where, I was saying earlier, believe it, see it, achieve it. And most importantly, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. Thank you so much, Laurie, for sharing your expertise with us today on Inspired Living Radio. We'll be back here in just a few weeks with our next episode. Until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and most important, be inspired, inspire others, inspire before we expire. We'll see you next time on Inspired Living Radio. Take care, everybody.